Hello and welcome to Talkin' Baseball. Man, we got brawls. We got bees on the field. Twins, double-digit win streak? Let's talk ball. Late sync.
Thought I had it.
Hello and welcome to Talkin' Baseball, presented to you by SeatGeek. Talkin' 10. I think they just extended the 10% off. Go check that out. My name is Jake Ronald Storielli. Yeah, full name. Trevor's here, BBD's here, but it's my day today. I'm just going to take it. No, Trev, your Twins have the good juice. New layout. Hello, YouTube. And man, it was a messy week of ball as we get into May. All JM team earlier this week. Era's Beekeeper stealing headlines. That old gross sausage your Twins are lunking around. Baseball's
You're right.
back.
It's been a weird first month of the season.
Yeah.
As we sprinkle into May. You know, I don't want to get into the B guy just yet, but kind of over the B guy. Got to be honest with you. And I talked about this on Baseball Today yesterday. We'll get into it. I don't want to give it all away right now in the open because, Pop, we got some baseball to get to.
I turned kind of quick on the B guy. He was liking it a little too much.
A little too much for me.
A little too much.
I got a take on it.
Okay. We'll get to that. All-time breakdown this week. Tampa and Milwaukee, the bad boy Brewers. I mean, it's one of those, obviously shout out to John Boy. It's one of those, there's not a lot of facets in life. Two guys can talk to each other that way.
You talking about Gooch and Pat Murphy?
Yeah.
I mean, I know Jim's really good at what he does and can read the lips. Is that what they were saying back and forth?
I mean, that's hot stuff,
Gucci was attacking Pat Murphy.
That's one of those things and not on a baseball field. That doesn't fly. We had some sweeps this week. We had some Mets controversy at the dish. We got a lot of ball to cover. I say we get into it right now and we do a little NL because it's Friday.
Obviously.
And it's a tight NL. Yeesh. Let's stay here in New York City because the Chicago Cubs, Ian Happ, they took on the New York Metropolitans. They end up splitting 4, and man, you had everything in this one. Severino, no watch. They end up losing that game. Cubs put up some runs late. Chris Morel, my guy, he has a couple homers in this series. Jameson Taillon against Sevy, a couple former Yanks teeing it up. Jose Budo, our guy, and Imanaga, they're in a pitcher's duel. He keeps rolling. Cubs win 1-0. The Mets won the other 2 games. DJ Starr. And then we've got a walk-off in 11. Frankie Lindor, baby. Pete Alonso blocking at home play. We're going to talk about that. I don't know the rules anymore. Maybe I never did. In the desert, Dodgers and Snakes teed it up for 3. Snakes got Dodgers a little bit. The boys were bopping that first game. The Dodgers put up 8. The last game, the Dodgers put up 8, and they got shut out by Yoshinobu Yamamoto. How do you like that? Will Smith is everywhere, but he wasn't everywhere in Game 2, where Christian Walker's 2 homers and a walk-off. Snakes survive, but it's getting a little scary down in the desert. Padres take 2 out of 3 from the Reds. Nick Lodolo, 11 Ks. He's doing some historic Cincinnati Reds left-handed pitching stuff, but that doesn't matter the rest of the series. Profar's going nuts. You saw him on All JM. 3 hits in the second game, 4 in the fourth game, 7 hits over 2 days. Musgrove, Darvish get it done. Cronenworth a couple big moments. The series everyone's talking about. Marlins sweep the Rockies, babe. It's not over yet. Dane Myers walk-off RBI single. Trev's going to tell you all about him. Roddery Munoz, yep. 6 innings, 1 earned run for the Fish. And Dane Myers with another pinch hit at bat. And then they get it done on the final game. Let's go, Fish. And then the series that we're probably going to talk about the most. Rays, Brewers. Rays win 1-0. Pepio outduels Wilson in that one. And that teed it up for, man, Jose Siri does not give a fuck. We've got a fight on the field. The boys are swinging. The Cisco hair is out. All-time breakdown, like I mentioned. Brewers roll him in that one, and then they roll him the next day. Former Ray Willie Adames. Couple big days at the office. You know William Contreras is involved. And Blake Perkins and Bryce Terang, man. Hey, let's talk about it. That's what happened in the National League.
Poppy, excellent job right there.
Thanks, Trev.
What did Jose Siri do in this whole thing? I don't really know.
He's awesome. Maybe not in this one. You got some NL standings. We do have a lot of, interleague NL games, but what do you got?
In the NL, let's start in the NL East. Atlanta still atop the division, though very tightly. 20-9. Philadelphia right behind them at 21-11. They're a half game back. The New York Mets 16-15. The Washington Nationals, how about this? One game under 500. They're 15-16. And the Miami Marlins, after that sweep, 9-24. In the Central, Milwaukee still leading things, 19-11. The Chicago Cubs right behind them at 19-13. The Cincinnati Reds 16-15. St. Louis 14-17. And the Pittsburgh Pirates at the bottom of the division right now at 14-18. Out west, kind of looking like it should, actually. Dodgers 20-13 at top of the division. The Padres under 500, but in second place, they're at 16-18. The Giants 15-17, so they're neck and neck. And then throw in the Diamondbacks at 14-18. Those three teams are all jumbled up there. Are any of them going to make the playoffs? I guess that is the question. We're in May. Shut up, Trev. Yeah. And then the Colorado Rockies 7-24 at the bottom of the division, and the whole entire league.
Yeah.
And those are the standings.
Bud Black said spirits are high.
Yeah.
Yeah. Rocky Mountain High. Trev, let's go straight to Milwaukee versus Tampa, because fireworks on the field, a brawl, one landed punch, a lot of not landed punches. Rhys Hoskins in the middle. And like we said at the start, I think Pat Murphy, go F yourself, you little beep. I mean,
didn't Gooch come at him first, though? Didn't he call him a piece of you-know-what?
The whole thing was hot. The whole thing felt rooted, which...
Okay. Well, the series, I think Pepio, great job. First game, they shut the Brewers out. Pepio in the pen shut the Brewers out. The only run, this is an interesting one for me, because in the first game it was 1-0. The only run scores on Isaac Paredes, grounded into double play, bases loaded. I understand it's the first inning. Kind of would have liked to see the third baseman come home there to prevent the out, but it is what it is. Okay, so that happens. Then game 2 is the brawl game. And Siri hits the homer. He puts his head down. He walks a little bit.
Yeah.
It wasn't like... in the grand scheme of things, with what people are doing with home runs these days, like, was that bad?
No.
Like, right? It was like on that's below average, I think.
He got it. He enjoyed it, but it wasn't. He didn't show anyone up. Like, that was.
He looked down.
That was Jose Siri.
That's about as light as he can get.
Yeah.
I think he was really restraining himself, if we're being honest. So everyone's saying, oh, he looked at it too long, that's why Peralta hit him. And, you get to a 3-0 count and you nail a guy. It kind of does seem like he probably did hit him on purpose. In my mind, like, thinking as a ball player, 3-0 count, you're up, 6-1 at the time, 6-2 at the time. And you're just like, you know what? And he nails him. But I'll say this. I don't think that's up for Guccione and his crew to decide. I really don't.
And
Like that
there
was
was
the strangest part to me.
no warning, right? Like
No warning.
like come on, like that's the whole for me. That's the whole thing. Like we have, I mean, it's all the systems kind of BS, but like isn't warning the answer there instead of tossing a pitcher?
I mean, you're supposed to. I mean, unless it's like so egregious that you have to. Like, I just don't think that one was. Now, again, do I think it was on purpose? Like, probably. Like, I'm really digging deep. 3-0, nailed them. Kind of like Peralta kind of knows where the ball is going, but he hit him in the right spot. Like, if this thing was up at his head,
Right.
I could see Gooch being like, "All right, the guys get together. Let's talk about it." But hits him in the leg. Series walking down, and then all of a sudden, it's just. Guccione takes it upon himself, and I like Chris a lot. Like we spent days at the train park in Arizona with our kids together.
Wow.
Yeah, he's my guy, but I just don't like him calling everyone together and tossing Murph and Peralta. Murph has had what a week this guy had, dude. Like with Aaron Judge, with the pass ball and the helmet hit. Like we are. It's pretty nuts.
Yeah, I mean, there's some roots to the first game in this series. Jake Bauers was ruled out on a wild pitch on a third strike. They got Murphy ejected the night before, and Guccione's pointing to the rule book. So, again, if you haven't seen the breakdown, for me, it's a Hall of Fame breakdown. Potential Mount Rushmore. Really John was in the lab for a while on that one, and it's an incredible product. And yeah, I mean, the way they're talking to each other, I don't know, like part of me loves the intensity of sports and it means something, a Brewers-Rays game. But there's also, I don't know, man, like there's some societal stuff.
That.
Like
I love that part of the game. That's why I think we need to keep umpires. Like the umpire-manager duel is like, it's hilarious. I mean, look at all the crowd reactions to that. I just think it's a very entertaining part of the game. And then we get to the brawl. Siri grounds out. Abner Uribe's out there. I've heard he's a nut, by the way. I was in the clubhouse with the Twins, and a couple guys that played with him said he's an absolute psycho. I don't even know like what transpired there. Like what was said under the breath? Because it wasn't like a big outlandish like kind of like beginning to this brawl. It was just like a few words said. Again, Siri, I don't think really did anything. There was like a little brushing of the glove as he walked by. And then all of a sudden, with an umpire in between them, Uribe just throws I'm not going to call it a haymaker because there was a lot of not so well thrown punches in this brawl. But then we go. And yeah, you got to watch the breakdown on Jimmy's going to do a much better job than we are, explaining what went down. There's a lot to it. But the Brewers, I mean, I called them the bad boys of baseball. Rhys Hoskins is there. He's right in the thick of this thing. Chumbawamba, as Jimmy said, he gets knocked down, but he gets back up again. That was maybe my favorite line in the whole thing. We've had the McNeil and Hoskins sliding.
Yeah.
We've had this brawl, and hasn't there been one other one? Beebs, if you can figure that out, I would love that. I don't remember. I thought there was another.
Oh, like Brewers?
Yes, another Brewers, kind of like fight or bases emptying or benches clearing situation. But they're hot, man. Top of the Central. I mean, I think with a guy like Murphy, I think the intensity is kind of there. Like it all kind of plays together.
Can I
add Rhys into that? And here we go.
Craig Counsell leaves, which, the heart of the Brewers, all those wins they've racked up the last couple years, all Craig Counsell. Pat Murphy comes in. We got a dose of Pat Murphy, bench coach Pat Murphy, and it was kind of like the silly tough guy. Like, if I'm being honest, if the Brewers were John Boy Media, Pat Murphy was kind of giving Jake vibes. It's kind of like, hey, like Pat Murphy was messing around with Rowdy Tellez. Like, Rowdy had a big night the night before, and he was like, Rowdy, you got lucky on 2 pitches. Like, you mishit that ball. He's like, I hit a homer, dude. That I don't know. I think all of us were looking at each other like, Pat Murphy taking over, and then, the Arizona State, like, he ran a team down there. He knows what's up. Man, they've got an identity. And by the way, Jakey schedules, they're about to tee it up for 3 in Wrigley against Council in the second place Cubbies. Whoo!
They also fought the Orioles.
Sure.
Oh, that's right.
The Churriel, the Jackson Bowl.
Yes. Weird 6th inning, 9-1 game.
Yeah.
I love it. I kind of love it, man. And, like you come into the season, you trade your ace, you got a new manager, your leader of your team that was responsible for all these wins, like goes to the Cubs, and here you are sitting there in spring training, being like, you know what? Like, we're pretty good, guys. They're come out there in first place in the Central. You just gotta kind of love what's going on there.
And I think baseball-wise, couple fun things. Contract year Willy Adames is now balling out.
Yep.
Go look at what you think a 28, 29-year-old shortstop with a 150 OPS plus right now gets on the open market. We love that for Willie.
I do, but there's not many teams that like need a shortstop. It's interesting, bro. I can't wait to see what happens with him.
Hey, keep it up and everything figures itself out. They also called up another kid, Tyler Black, who's a top 10 prospect for him. He got a couple hits. They're putting him in the lineup. So another kid that, we've talked so much about these Central teams and the infusion of young talent that is probably going to dictate both Central divisions. And on the other side, I think I want to circle up on some more Rays stuff now. They've got a big homestand coming up. Mets, White Sox, Yanks, all at home. And again, it's not getting late early, but the 14 and 18 Rays in that AL East, they got to get something going besides our guy Richie Palacios.
Doing really well.
Isaac Paredes too, but they're gonna need a little more. Eflin with a good start. He kind of needed that too.
I'm really surprised you didn't mention your guy who plays left field and robs homers. What's his name for the Brewers? Joey what?
Oh, Joey Weimer. Yeah. A lot of Joey Wendell for the Mets too. Times are good for me. That's all I need.
Oh man.
Trev, I think if we're being honest, as this show's gotten bigger and we want to give the teams and people love, but it's a lot to do over 162. The Marlins sweep the Rockies. Again, hey, Marlins, this was a playoff team last year. We've been tough on them, deservedly so. They sweep the other worst team in the National League, so I think that's why I'm not as excited about it, and 2 of those games are extra innings. But congrats,
I'll
Marlins.
give it a little love.
Yeah.
I'll get a little love, okay? Rockies, first game, 5 spot in the first. If you're the Marlins, you're like, dang, this ain't going to go our way today. Then at battling all the way back in the 9th, they score 5 in the 9th. Our guy, Dane Myers, then hits the walk-off. Kind of like an awkward collision at home. Nice swing by Dane Myers, by the way. A little line drive to right. Awkward kind of collision at home plate. Like De La Cruz slides in. Like the ball beat him by plenty, but the catcher kind of dropped the ball. He was kind of blocking the plate. Weird thing. Anyways, he like reaches around and just like touches the base with the plate with his hand after all that. It's kind of like anticlimactic, but climactic times for the walk-off. And then, like you mentioned, another big hit for our guy Dane Myers in the second game, and then a walk-off for Jesus Sanchez there. I mean, you got to give a little bit of love to the Marlins. It's been a struggle bus for them. It's been a struggle bus for the Rockies. Why are there good vibes in Colorado? Why is that?
Bud Black said the locker room vibes we're good.
We're fine. Okay. I don't hate that. Like, what are you gonna do? Sulk? You got a lot of ball left. You're gonna sulk right now. It's gonna be a long, long season. So I don't mind that for the Rockies.
We're getting MLB.
Shout out Ryan Feltner.
Always shout out Ryan Feltner.
Yeah.
Brenton Doyle, all JM. Trev, I think I want to lump one conversation together because, hey, San Diego, they win a series against my Reds. Good on them. Defend their home field. The Dodgers in Arizona also teed it up. Dodgers fans, I hear you. You're now coming with the Braves argument. You're not talking about us enough because we're so good. Well, yeah. I got a little Dodger stuff later in the show as well. And, God, look at Will Smith's page. If Andy Pages continues to swing like he's been doing, my God. Trev, I wanted to take kind of this angle on it a little bit. The Giants Snakes and Padres are lumped together, and they're going to be lumped together for the rest of the season. I guess, is there anything, because you talked about in May, like all three of these team seasons could be put on their head. They could all nosedive with a few injuries and bad series. They could also become a storyline in baseball and a team that wins 95 wins this year. Is there anything between those three, kind of the three teams fighting for second in the NL West, that you have as a separator right now?
I think I always go to starting pitching when you ask me questions like that. Like, I think Arizona, with the guys they have, like, possibly might have the best starting rotation out of those three teams. San Francisco Giants, certainly would say, well, we might have that as well. But I think if you're talking about like five guys, I would probably go with Arizona right now. Separating factors, I don't know if there is one, Jake. I really think that these teams are all going to be kind of right there fighting for one NL wild card spot at the end of the year. I don't see two of these teams making the playoffs. I think we're going to see some Central teams snatch up some of those wild card spots, and Phillies or Braves are going to take one of them. So it's going to be a dogfight for these teams, and I think really it's going to be maybe who adds at the deadline. Can Snell come back and be a difference maker for the Giants? I think we can look at that. I think I don't have anything that really separates these teams. Do you? I mean, offensively, we can kind of like go all different ways with this as well. I would say like the Giants probably have the best 1 through 9. The Padres have the best, top end talent, and then the Diamondbacks can kind of beat you with different types of offense. So those are all just, depending on the week, who's going to have the better run offensively.
Yeah, I guess for me, I think Arizona, with last year, the fact that, Monty joined late, we still haven't seen Erod pitch for them. And Corbin Carroll, sneaky, hasn't been that guy this year. A lot of shoulder injury rumors or talk. That I think the Snakes still have the best high-end potential to go out of these teams, but also the Padres have been scoring, and I like their rotation a lot still. That again, gun to my head, I think it's Snakes, Padres, Giants, but like you're saying, it's why it's an unfair question, but I don't know. It is going to be a dogfight with these three all year. These teams all invested a lot.
Yeah, they did. They made a lot of moves. How about this for a slash line? The Diamondbacks have the best slash line of those three teams, offensively, team stats. But Diamondbacks 249, 328, 391 for a 719. The Padres 250, 320, 393 for a 713. I mean, these teams are essentially identical in their slash line, and the Giants a little bit below that, 238, 303, 370 for a 673. So offensively, they haven't gotten it going. I think they have the potential to, but it hasn't really happened for them so far.
And now there's some baseball highlights. We had the Stu Fairchild catch that was very reminiscent of Adam Jones's in the WBC against Machado. You and Rosie talked about that on Baseball Today. There was a catcher's interference. We had B-Gate in Arizona, Dodgers. So of those topics, what do you like?
I don't know. I like the Cincinnati-San Diego series. I think that's two fun baseball teams. Like, you can really, Ellie De La Cruz, leadoff homer, was a freaking absolute bomb. I believe that was on Monday's game or Tuesday's game, whatever the first game of the series was. And then, boom, Profar does the exact same thing in the bottom half of the inning. I love that. Nick Lodolo, I think we had to mention, looked really good for the Reds. They call him Nick at Night, which is kind of fun.
Nice.
I like that. He went 7 innings pitched, 11 Ks. He retired 18 straight batters at one point in that first game. And then, Machado had a big bases clearing hit in the second game. I like this matchup a lot. Aesthetically pleasing, number one. And then there's also just some real star power in this series for sure.
Crazy talent on the field.
Yeah. Padres take the series, though. I mean, they have the potential to really go, too.
Sure.
Especially when you have guys like you have Merrill coming up. You don't really expect that at the beginning of the season. He's doing what he's doing. Profar, I believe he was
Yeah.
an all JM guy, right?
Yeah.
He's going off. Like that's a great, easy signing for them to bring him back. If we were looking at their outfield, and we're saying who's going to play outfield for these guys, and now all of a sudden, one of the most productive outfields in baseball.
Jackson Merrill's been great. Profar's been
So far,
from Mr. Irrelevant to the best outfielder in the National League for coming up on a month and a half.
and Fernando Tatis Jr.
Oh yeah, and that guy, the
That
cleats guy. You're right. Those are two fun teams. I like to dub when a playoff matchup between those two teams. Hearts on the line. That would be a fun one. Let's see if both or either of them get there.
Dodgers, Arizona.
Rip the Beekeeper apart.
Okay. Okay. Beekeeper game. First of all, Dodgers, nice win in the first game. I think it was like a 4-run fifth for them, and then Arizona answers with 3 in the same inning, and then the bullpen for the Dodgers, I think, only allowed 2 base runners the rest of the way in the first game. Then it was the Beekeeper game, which was awesome, I guess, for fans, because like you're like having this guy and you're cheering for him. Then Walker hits the homer, 2 homers on the night, walks it off. Great. Beekeeper guy. Let's get to it. Okay. I'm excited for this guy. I think he was like at his son's like little league game, and they give him a call. He goes there, has no idea that the bees are going to be like on the field. I think he just thought it was going to be in the stadium somewhere. First I thought it was a beehive. Then I just saw there was just all bees surrounding the queen. So those bees just doing their job, just doing their job. Anyways, he gets him out. Everyone's cheering for him. He's kind of playing it up a little too much for me. Ends up throwing out the first pitch. He has a card. Topps gave him a baseball card. So I think I'm happy for him. Did he play it up a little bit too much? Yes. My take yesterday on Baseball Today was, what about all the real American heroes out there that work at the stadium every day?
Right.
What about the pool man that cleans that pool that you were lifeguarding in the World Series?
Me.
Do you think that he gets to throw out the first pitch? What if that pool turns green and there's algae everywhere and nobody wants to come and swim in that pool? And that's tough for the Diamondbacks, but I don't see the pool men out there throwing first pitch. Maybe we need one day in Arizona for the real American heroes. Greatest ad campaign ever, by the way. Go out and throw the first pitch. I'm talking, we got some concession line workers. I'm talking the pool man out there. How about the grounds crew?
But then grounds crew is actually a good one.
I'm just kidding. I'm happy for the B guy. I'm trying to make light of the situation. I'm happy for the B guy. Kind of the only thing that gets me, Jake, is he's like a little too good looking.
Yeah, like he kind of had it going on, and then he was
like, "What's up with that?"
He started enjoying it a little too much. Like he was kind of doing like the like Miss America wave at one point. He was feeling it and good.
Do you think there's going to be some single ladies out there that just like buy some bees and throw them in their backyard and try to call that service? He's a good looking guy.
I hadn't really thought about it, but now it's all I'm thinking about. Can't get it out of my head. Shout out.
What didn't we cover?
Shout out to the mailmen. The last thing in the NL is the Cubs, and again,
jeez,
it's a 4-game split, Trev. So a lot of guys had awesome performances throughout this series. I mean, Morel, Imanaga, Tyone, Sevy, Frankie Lindor's flu game that he and Joey Wendell were feeling the same flu-like symptoms. I don't know, man. I'll obviously let you cook, but I think for me, it's the play at home plate, and I don't really know, man. I've struggled with this one for a little bit between blocking and interference, and I think MLB is going to have to tighten the screws up on a few of these rules because there's a lot of wiggle room that on a given night, even watching replays, I don't know the call.
Couple notes before we get into it. I want to shout out, obviously, Sevy put up a great start. Tyone matching him in that game. And then Morel with the homer off Diaz was awesome. I mean, Diaz is a very, very tough pitcher to do that against. And Morel is that's your guy.
That's my guy. He's really good.
You love him. And then I wanted to point out that DJ Stewart, his big homer comes on Dollar Dog Night. There were 70,000 hot dogs prepared for that night. And you know he had at least one. How do you think he takes his dog? Mustard only, right?
Ooh. Loaded. I mean,
Or do you think he dips it in water and just shoves it down?
Cat ketchup. There might be. Ooh,
Okay.
no, it was a game changer. We went to the Orioles game this weekend. They've got a hot dog that's got a layer of like crab dip on it with some crunchies on the top.
That's freaking disgusting.
I thought I was out. It looked delish.
Hot dog, we're talking like pig and cow intestines all just like ground up, and then you throw some crab meat on top of that.
I mean, dude, you start doing that with any food, it gets kind of gross. Like, you eat a burger. Oh, this was a cow. So I don't know. It's a slippery slope. The food itself looked pretty good.
Did you eat it?
I didn't get it. Jolly got it, and I had already eaten Boog's barbecue. Shout out.
Shout out Bugs. Okay, the blocking the plate thing. I don't even know where we go with this. Again, I think they called it right. I don't think Alonso was safe. At first, I thought Alonso was safe at home, but it turns out his hand was like above the plate, which is kind of a problem. I tried to address it on Baseball Today yesterday.
Yeah.
I said maybe raise the plate to make it a base. What? And people were like freaking out. Well, aren't they going to trip over the bag? I'm like, there's 3 other bags,
right,
that like people don't trip over all the time. Like, you know that they're there.
The
So,
plate,
like,
the plate is the oddball in this situation.
Yeah, you plan accordingly when there's a base. You don't just like run and like, oh my gosh, I can't believe this thing is protruding from the ground. Like, you know it's there. Anyways, I don't think that's that far-fetched of an idea. People are hammering me for that, telling me to take my mic away.
It's outside the box, and I love it.
Just saying that happens a lot. It's weird. I think on the whole rule, we've gone way too far to protect catchers. That's what I think. Way too far to protect catchers. They have all the ability in the world to hurt a runner.
Right.
When it was the other way around, obviously I don't want guys trucking catchers. It makes for highlights sometimes, but that's such a dangerous play. And you're talking about one guy he's got gear on, but he's standing still, and the other guy's running full speed. That's like not a fair fight. It's just not.
Yeah.
So, we changed that Buster Posey rule, all that good stuff. I think we've just gone too far. I mean, the catchers with all that gear now, they give you a lane. It's this big, and then they can just drop the knee and with all this gear on and block you as soon as they have the ball. What are you supposed to do as a runner? What are you supposed to do? Like, all the other bases, you have to completely give up the base. You can't block it. But with home plate, it's just a lane still. That's my understanding right now. Like, you're talking a sliver of the plate you have to give up. So what are you supposed to do? Because you can't, like, when you slide feet first, like, chances are your foot's going to be above the ground. That's why I mentioned raising the plate. And so a lot of people now have been going in head first so they can try to grab that little, put their hand down on that little part of the, the plate that's available to them. But then, you have a guy with shin guards on, putting his knee down in front of you. That's how you break your hand. It's like, there's really nowhere for runners to go on a close play at home, where the catcher like has the ball like just briefly before and can just drop his knee. Like, there's nowhere for the runners to go. I mean, runners are gonna have to start going up spikes, like going in spikes up to get the catchers away. That's the only way to combat that.
You've been saying that a lot, and I've been hesitant a little bit just because, I don't know, there's something pretty sick about a head first slide, like when it's done right. But I don't know, that Alonso play is super dangerous for the runner. So you're right, like in all of this protecting catchers, which we had to take a step, maybe 2 steps, and you're right, maybe we've taken 5, that we might have to walk something back or clarify something, whether that's runners can only slide, even if there's part of it that's runners can only slide feet first. And take that out of the game, but the catcher has to be off the plate. I don't know. Like, that's what it's supposed to be. Carlos Mendoza brings out the pictures in the rule book, which, that's quite a baseball scene. But I don't know, man. From the Aaron Judge block shot last week to the plays at the plate, it just feels like if we take another step of clarifying things, I think it would be good for baseball.
Yeah, I mean, the umpires have been in a pickle as of late. They've been kind of putting themselves in these situations. We're talking a little bit too much about umpires. I love a little bit of disagreement from here and there, like where we can have these conversations. And I think they're an integral part of baseball, but I think they've been putting themselves in baseball a little bit too much as of late. Now, this one they had to, figure it all out, but I don't know what we do about home plate. I just don't. I don't get it. Why is it so much different than the other bases? And maybe I'm reading this rule incorrectly, but if you read the collision rule at home plate, it's so vague and gives the umpires so much leeway to kind of call what they want. It's like, okay, if it takes you into the running lane, you can get the ball, but it's like pretty much every ball is going to take you into the running lane. Like,
that's
that's
the
where
goal.
you're throwing the ball.
That's where the ball wants to, that's where the defense wants the ball to end up.
Yeah, you surely don't want to throw it on the other side of home plate because you have to apply a tag. So it's like, I don't know, man. I don't know where we go.
Something to watch. Mets, they keep the ship above 500. And Cubbies, and their offense was a little funky. I mean, to split a road set like that sets them up for Milwaukee in a fun little homestand. Excited to see what's going on there. Let's do some American League Baseball that's brought to you by Just Bats. Hell yeah.
This is what I love.
Hell yes. The
They
largest...
sell gloves on Just Bats or just bats?
Bro.
I mean, it's in the name, but I'm curious if they've expanded.
We are selling twigs, Trev.
Okay. I'm going on the website right now.
It's the side of the ball we care about. The largest online bat store with a wide selection of brands. DeMarini, Easton, Louisville Slugger, and more. They've got baseball and softball bats because they're bats, Trev. That's what we're trying to tell you. Wood bats, youth bats.
They have just gloves, too.
Yeah.
Obviously.
But that's, that's a whole different side of the world.
Sorry.
I'm telling people about the bats. You can get the personalization. Trev sees it with the kids. It's what it's all about. The lizard skins.
Oh, my
Custom knobs. Laser engravings. And with Just Bats Assurance Program, never second guess your bat purchase. Any bat for 30 days. If you're not satisfied, send it back. No Q's aid. So, if you're looking for a bat, go to Just Bats. There isn't a better online shopping experience than the one you'll receive with them. JustBats.com to find your next gamer, some new lumber. There's a link in the description. Hottest bats, lowest prices. Save up to 80% off with free shipping and free returns on every order. There's a link in the description. Thank you to Just Bats.
Dude, bats is a huge thing in youth baseball. All the kids want, these hype fire bats. They hit the ball so hard. The barrels are this big. I'm trying to convince Teddy. I said, Teddy, let's go small barrel, bro.
No way.
Why not?
At that age, convincing a kid to go small barrel,
I didn't swing a big barrel until high school, bro.
The science in your brain at that age says small barrel, less fun time hitting.
They don't even make small barrel bats anymore.
Right.
It's just massive barrels. You can't miss it.
Speaking of massive barrels, the two teams atop the American League East, and we've got a change in the standings. The Baltimore Orioles. I told you, I went down to see some of this series, and I watched the Orioles take 3 out of 4 from the New York Yankees. And it would have been 4 out of 4 probably if Oswaldo Cabrera doesn't go pole dancing in that third game with a massive start from Luis Hill. But Grayrod with a really nice start for the O's before he goes on the IL. Kyle Bradish comes back for Baltimore. Remember when we thought we might have to write him off for the season? Nope. And then Mountcastle, Mateo, and McKenna, the M&M boys, all go yard in that final game. Baltimore holds home serve against the Yankees. The Jays do not against your Kansas City Royals. How about that AL Central? Blue Jays won that first game. Justin Turner, 2-homer day at the office, but then it was all Royals the rest of the way. Reagans and Lugo, 6.21 earned, 7 innings, 1 earned run. Bobby Witt Jr., a couple 2-hit days, and the Royals take 2 out of 3 in the Great North. Speaking of that Central, all the Twins do is win. You can't spell Twins without wins. They've won 10 straight. They take care of the White Sox again. They needed
10.
to. Trevor Plouffe was on the road with the team. You know you're going to hear a lot about them, unfortunately, so I'm going to stop talking about them. The Cleveland Guardians. Hi, Chris Rose. They lose 2 out of 3 to Houston. Man, 2 extra innings won. Josh Hader going 2 innings. I think that's a fun topic to help Victor Caratini provide the walk-off win for them in the first one. And then the Cleveland Guard Dogs, Stephen Kwan, that game-ending catch and throw to get it done in extras. Astros, they had to have it on the last day, and they did. They opened it up late, 6th inning. How about John Singleton, friend of the program? They go up to put up 8 in that one. They hold serve. They had to. Braves, Mariners. Okay, some high-level baseball here. How about the dueling no-hitter? Bryce Miller and Max Fried. That does it for Trev. And then Mitch Garvsauce with the walk-off. Whoo, 3-2 pitch. Let him know. Next game, Reynaldo Lopez and Luis Castillo. Absolutely. Seattle gets it done in that one. But the Braves sail away with a victory as Chris looks really good and the offense does enough. But the Mariners, 2 out of 3. Tigers do the same against the Cardinals. We get rained out. That gives us a doubleheader. The Trevor Plouffe Bowl. Gibby and Flaherty just dropping hammers on each other, and they both pitched well, too. Fun game out there. And St. Louis outlasts them. They get the win. That was their last one in the series. Tigers rolled it the rest of the way. Wenceel Perez, sure, 2-homer day. Mark Cannon, Riley Green can't stop. Kenta Maeda gets his first win, and you know Matt Vierling was there if Trev's talking about it. Go Tigers, go. Phillies take 2 out of 3 from the Halos. Cole Tucker alert. But Phillies and some of the guys you might know there. Castellanos is going nuts. Schwartz, homer, 3 RBI. And Alec Bohm continues to hit. Zach Wheeler on that final game. They win a close one, 2-1. They outlast the Halos. Pirates get swept by Oakland. You heard that right, people. How about the Oakland A's? Joe Boyle stepping up. Ross Stripling, 6 shutout. Tyler Nevin is going nut job. Kyle McCann. Why not Oakland? We'll give them some love because they deserve some love. The Boston Red Sox. Despite all the injuries, they win another series. They take 2 out of 3. They knock Logan Webb out early. Wiley or Abrayer. Jaron Duran. Cutter Crawford, man, what he's done the past couple years, including 7 innings in this one. How about Yastrzemski and Baston, kid? Does that do something for you? Kyle Harrison and the Giants do enough on the final day to salvage it. And the Texas Rangers take 2 out of 3 from the Nationals. John Gray with a big boy start, and the offense puts up 7. Evaldi in the offense does the same thing on the final game. But in that middle one, Trevor Williams keeps shutting people down. And Alex Call with the only RBI in that game. It's 1-0 Natitude. That's what happened in the American League. Juicy.
It was juicy.
Juicy.
And you crushed it, Poppy, as usual. I had to bring Isla back here. She's staying home from school sick today. She wanted to say hi.
Who doesn't love a good sick day home? With the coolest dad in the world?
Ever. I'm not going to talk about Matt Vierling too much, okay?
Do you have the standings there, Trev?
I do. We'll start in the East because it's Friday. That's what we do. Baltimore took down those Yanks. They're sitting in first place in the AL East at 20-11. New York right behind them at 20-13. Boston, so many injuries, and they are still doing it, man. 18-14. A lot of it's because of that starting pitching. We'll talk about it. Toronto, 15-17, and Tampa Bay, 14-18, sitting in last place in the AL East. In the Central, the Guard Dogs, all they do is win, 20-11. My goodness. 19-13 for our Kansas City Royals, 18-13 for the Detroit Tigers, 17-13 for my Minnesota Twins, and then the White Sox. Oh boy, the White Sox. 6-8 25 at the bottom of all of baseball and the Central as well. And then the West. Things look a little weird out here in the West. Seattle 17-14, Texas 17-15, Oakland 15-17, Houston and the LA Angels both sitting at 11-20. And that is the standings in the American League.
Phenomenal stuff, Trevor. In the American League, we also Houston surviving. Jose Abreu gets option. That's crazy. Trout with another knee injury. So there's a lot going on in the AL. I'll give you a minute on the Twins. I'm not going to White Sox you. I'm not going to knock any 10-game win streak. They needed needed 7 out of 10. They've gotten 10 out of 10 and they're hitting, so roll it.
Quick on the Twins, because I do think, part of it is the competition they face. I mean, the White Sox right now are just playing bad baseball. Like, the starting pitching isn't there. Like, the offense isn't there enough. Like, Kopech looks pretty good in the pen. There's some, I don't know. There's a couple decent players on that team, but as an organization right now, they're just not doing it. I will shout out my guy, Drew Butera, who got tossed in Wednesday's game, first inning. This is like the nicest guy in baseball, and he got tossed. It was hilarious. But the Twins they've answered it, man. Yeah, White Sox, Angels, White Sox. The Angels, when I was there at Anaheim, they played one of the worst series I've ever seen. It was incredibly bad baseball to watch, and that's why they made a bunch of roster moves. That's why Cole Tucker's up. Unfortunately, they lose Mike Trout, which is really crappy. But they've just been getting the job done. They weren't hitting with runners in scoring position whatsoever. They've gone off. They've been the best offense in baseball over the last 10 games. Like any metric, any stat, they are the best team in baseball. And it shows. I mean, they've been putting up good at bats, getting the ball in the zone. They haven't been striking out. They get Correa back, but lose Buxton. They're playing good ball. They have a good team. They have been dealing with a lot of injuries this year. I know a lot of teams have been dealing with injuries, but Royce Lewis being gone, Carlos Correa being gone, Kepler being gone. I mean, those are and Johan Duran just got back.
Yeah.
Those three guys are a big part of their offense. They got two of them back. Now they lose Buxton, still waiting on Lewis. This team's going to be in it. I know it started off really poorly, and I'm not going to overplay this 10-game win streak. I mean, it's great to have. It's very hard to do it no matter who you're playing. But they're not going to, all of a sudden turn into this magical team that's going to run away with the division. That's not the case. The Central is too good for that right now. There's a lot of young, hungry teams, good starting pitching in that division. They needed this to just get back in the race. So they're back in the race. And I really think now they're playing the Red Sox this weekend. This is kind of when it's go time now. You took care of business, but hey, there's some real deal starting pitching in front of you, and baseball is about to get a lot harder.
Boston, Seattle, Toronto, their next 10. So those first two are home stands. But yeah, we will find out a lot more about the Twins in the next 10 games than I think we did in the last 10. But what they did, man, that you can build a season around that. And again, it might have been the perfect timing, because if these 10 games were switched and the Twins were, what were they at the time, 7-13? The season could have gotten almost out of reach. So good on them. I'm excited to see what their hitting does in the upcoming series. And their pitching, that bullpen with Duran back there, that makes things feel a lot different.
The bullpen's great. The bullpen is very, very good. And the starting pitching has been okay.
I want to do Houston and Cleveland. Houston, again, we said their backs need to be up against the wall. They handled their business in Mexico City. They come back. Hader throws 2 innings in that first one. First time in a regular season game since 2019, I think, which is, a little bit of a whoa. Guardians and that Stephen Kwan play in the second game. And the Astros, they get what they needed in the final game to continue. Hey, you got to win series. You got to go a little bit. I loved, man, they talked to Hader, and they were asking about the multiple inning stuff. And he was like, I think he said, now that Houston has committed to me, I can commit to the team, which I don't know. As fans, we do this you want your guys giving it all up. Eric Burns throwing his body around the outfield with more reckless abandon than you've ever seen from a baseball player. It was some good honesty from Hader, and I think I really love the way he phrased it. And like, man, now that Houston has committed this to me, I'm going to commit everything to them. And Hader's been he was a vagabond for a couple years there where Milwaukee was in it, basically didn't want to pay him and wanted to return on the asset. He goes to San Diego last year in a contract year, and that does get tricky because while I'm complimenting him, CC Sabathia forever is a legend for getting traded to Milwaukee and putting it on the line every 3 days. Like, we will never see that again. It's one of my favorite things that's like happened in baseball in the past 20 years. But I don't know. I thought that was good, honest conversation and in what was a huge May series for the Astros.
Yeah, I guess I'll go over my notes on the series, then talk about Hader, because I do think that is interesting. I mean, insane game one. It was like a crooked number game. Naylor gets it up 3-0. Then Bregman answers with a homer. 5 spot in the bottom of the fourth. Singleton, our guy. Shout out Lindsey. He absolutely mashes one. Love that for him. I'm sure he's going to get much more playing time now that Abreu got optioned down. That's really cool for him. Jimenez and Florial tie the game, and then the walk-off for the Astros in the 10th. And you mentioned the Stephen Kwan game. I love watching that guy play. I don't know what the call was right there. Whoever was calling the game, like when that little looping line drive goes in the outfield, like, oh, that one's down. All of a sudden, Stephen Kwan comes out of nowhere, catches it, doubles him off. Thought that was really, really cool there. As far as the Hader stuff, it is honesty, and it doesn't matter which way you view this. You could say, well, man, like, yeah, like you're talking about, like, go give your all for your team no matter what. I understand that aspect of it, but you kind of be a fool not to understand Hader's side of it too. He goes into arbitration. He had been throwing multiple innings, and they said, that doesn't mean anything to us. Saves is what means something to us in arbitration. So, okay, if my employer tells me that, like, these don't matter to us, like, this is what matters to us, then I'm going to say, I'm going to do what matters then. And I'm going to just get saves. I'm going to pitch 1 inning because, that is his asset. It's his arm, right? This is the thing that he's got. It's brought him to this point. He's got a family. Like, you have to think about the best way to protect your family. The best way to protect your family is to protect that dang arm, that left arm. And if a team's telling you that, okay, then that's what I'll do. And what he's talking about now with the commitment, he said it's a shared risk between the Astros and I. If I pitch multiple innings and blow out, like, that's a risk they're willing to take, and I'm willing to take because they've invested in me. So I love the honesty, and like, are we going to see Hader go out there for multiple innings a bunch this year? Absolutely not. They're not going to do that. Like, can we see some 5-out saves from him? Some 4-out saves? Yes, that'll happen from time to time. He's not going to completely change who he is as a pitcher, and the usage is not going to change completely just because he came out and said this. But I think it's got to kind of be refreshing for people to like listen to an athlete kind of explain why they made a decision and then kind of say, look, now I'm changing my mind. And this is why, like, he's just explaining his thought process.
Yeah.
And it's his thought process in his career. And look, man, like, when you're a guy like that who possesses something that is worth that much, you can kind of decide what you want to do with it. So like, I thought the whole situation was fascinating. I'm just here for the honesty, I think, is my take.
Yeah, and we've talked a lot about pitchers and arm injuries and, the future of what bullpens look like. And, Hader's a guy that it's always felt like he's had the ability to do more than one, that I think Padre fans were almost a little frustrated last year. But yeah, I think honesty, and there's a bigger topic of, there was a young player giving an interview the other day, and he was just giving the most standard answers. Like, he was doing the non-interview interview. And first time the light bulb kind of went off in my head, like, that's a problem. Like, the guys giving real interviews and the media part of it, and guys are so worried about being the bad guy or giving the wrong quote, which I understand that. But it's also, it adds so much to the product of the game and like the storylines and everything that I'm not saying you need to go out there and talk shit or anything like that. But I don't know, man. It was like a young, exciting player. I can't believe I'm blanking who it was. And
In what series? This series?
I forget what it was. No, I don't think so. But it was just such. It was a guy being muted, and it's like that's not good for the game. Like I get why
but
it's happening, but
I get that, and like if you wanted honesty all the time, I could see how that would be more compelling, and I think there are times for that. I think with a young guy especially, you're just trying to figure out the big leagues, man. You're doing everything you can. It's so freaking hard. It's so hard that you don't even want to allow the possibility
it's
for
true.
more distractions.
You
All you want to do
you don't
is
want to be the guy that shakes the
focus.
tree. Yeah.
You just want to focus on the game because in an instant you can just lose it at the plate, or you can
Right.
like it just comes and goes, and it's so you need to focus. Like we're gonna talk about Cole Tucker in a little bit here. Like him and I having discussions about whether or not he should continue playing or not. The only piece of advice I gave him was you have to be 100% in on this. This can't be like a fleeting, hey, I'm gonna go play because I can. It's like you have to be 100% in on baseball to be successful, to be a legit big leaguer. You have to do that. So I understand both sides of this, where you're saying, hey, fans want more access, the truth. Give us some good interviews, and the guys that are playing the game are like, dude, I'm just trying to freaking survive this season. There's it goes both ways. And the guys that are like so good, they can like be honest. Like I think that's awesome. Like every once in a while you're gonna get some true raw honesty, whether that's just emotion coming out or a guy just feeling so confident about himself that he doesn't care. Like I don't know.
I think
we're getting a little bit more honesty, I think, as the years go on.
I think having that paycheck is a huge thing. Like
oh my gosh, yes.
When you have that contract, then you can talk a little more freely. And I was just laughing in my head, like how quickly did Arcia from the Braves last year go from like, wow, the Braves, they've done it again. Look at this stud all-star shortstop they made out of nothing. And then he's talking junk and they get eliminated, and it's like, Arcia, this guy, what a fool, man. And it's like, yeah, it can turn on your head that quickly.
Yeah, I mean, not Bryson Stott, Garrett Stubbs talking about how he wants to go in the pool.
Yeah.
They didn't go in the pool.
You're the fun, cool backup catcher, and now you're you fueled the Diamondbacks.
We all liked it, and then it's like, actually, no.
I like it. I mentioned the Braves briefly, maybe the best baseball played this weekend. Seattle and the Braves teed it off. They started off with the dueling no-hitter. I think it was Monday night. I was on my couch, like, I'm going to check in some of the late games, and I saw the MLB notification. It was no-hitter, and I was like, ooh. And then they had to make, like, another notification that it was, like, both.
Both pitchers.
Both are doing this. And we saw, Lopez has been one of the best pitchers in baseball. Castillo is one of the best pitchers in baseball. Lot of talent.
Miller's maybe even the best pitcher in baseball so
far. Again, tons of talent on the field. Seattle, that Garver home run is awesome. If you could bottle that feeling and sell it, John Boy Media bottling feelings would be a huge part of the company.
I don't know what you're talking about now at all. You just went somewhere. You went somewhere. Yeah, great first game. Obviously, the Acuna ground ball that is off Moore's glove. They ruled it a hit. Could have been an error. No, because he went down and dove for it, like a sliding, weak, weird dive. That's what you do as an infielder if you don't want an error. Everyone knows that. That's why you barehand balls coming in at third base. People, don't put your glove on it. Put your hand on it. If you don't make the play, it's a base hit, not an error. Everyone knows that's the case. And then Rojas breaks up the Braves no-hitter. I think Max was out of the game at that point. He was out of the game at that point. Jimenez gets out of the bases loaded jam, gets Rodriguez to pop up. That was a big pivotal moment. And then the call of the Mitch Garver homer, I think, was great. From the depths was the quote. That's a great quote right there. And it was this one right here. Like hot potato.
It's a natural kind of bat flip. Like
he hits it and it's like, oh shit.
I got that one.
Oh.
I got that one. 3-2 pitch. Good
And
for
then,
him.
yeah, I mean, that was a great series. Castillo pitched great. Polanco with the homer. Somebody on Twins Twitter pointed out that every single Jorge Polanco homer looks the same. Just
I
kind of
like
like
that.
poolside,
Pull side a
kind of
little
like,
bit of top spin on it,
yeah,
but
like line
a
drive barely over the
missile.
fence. Yeah,
Yeah.
he's the best. One of my favorite guys in the game of baseball. And then the Braves do the thing. Chris Sale, nice start in the last game. I was going to say the rubber match, but it wasn't a rubber match because the Mariners had won the first 2 games. So shout out Mariners. Getting it done.
Yeah,
Still
no.
kind of like searching for real offense, but like timely hitting can replace real offense,
Dude,
guys.
you won a series against the Braves, and like I don't, that's where I'm saying that walk-off ends up being huge. And Senor Smoke, my guy Munoz, we just talked about relievers, he comes in for a 5-out save. Dylan Moore filling in at shortstop with a big play to end that inning. Otherwise, that could have turned into one of those Braves rally that's still going on right now. Go Mariners, go. Trev, we're at the hour point. There's still a lot of ball on this sheet. And I know you said you were deeper in your notes than you've been since your Stanford days. So I'm going to let you cook a little bit. Get the hibachi going, Trev.
I don't think we need to go Nats, Rangers.
Oh.
Congratulations, Rangers. You went
Yeah.
2 of 3, and the Nats scored 2 runs in the entire series.
Yeah.
So how do you even win in one game, scoring 2 runs in 3 games? You win 1-0. That's how you do it. Okay. I think Giants, Boston. Did we talk about that at all yet?
Not really. I mean, Boston is a conversation, and I wanted to play my AL West game with you. I did because I think
your AL East game
of who would you want to be the rest of the. If Trevor Plouffe, the manager, had to get hired tomorrow, would you rather Sox, Jays, or Rays? And Sox kind of has the edge. They win another series here. They have so many injuries. What is it, 14 guys on the IL?
Yes.
Man. I mean, the Sox, 14 players on the IL, and they beat a Giants game. It always, whenever Yastrzemski comes back, that's pretty cool. But the Sox have some sauce, kid.
I mean, the pitching's been incredible. I think we talked about that, quite a bunch on this show, and they're getting a lot of love everywhere, and they should. I mean, you bring a new pitching coach in, he's changing the way they're throwing, and they are. I mean, Cooper Criswell in that first game looked great, and you get a Cutter Crawford start again. He's freaking filthy. I believe my Twins get Tanner Houck tonight. That's going to be tough for them. We'll see how they do it there. But then some of the guys are just like stepping up for the Red Sox. When you have all these injuries, you're going to get more playing time. Opportunities are going to come. Wilyer Abreu has been great for them. Jarren Duran had a great series here. And a lot of offense wasn't necessarily needed because the pitching was really good in this series. But they just continue to like figure it out, win series, keep themselves in the hunt. And you asked me that question before the show started. You were talking about, hey, we should do this segment where we talk, who do you want to be with? I don't really know who I choose between those teams. Red Sox, Jays, and Rays. I think right now, like the funnest team to coach would be the Red Sox. Like, you're going to be like in games for the most part because your starting pitching is going to be there. You have some young guys kind of doing it. Like I like that formula a little bit better than what's going on in Toronto or Tampa. And I don't know. I mean, really, again, if you're looking at the standings here, like how many of these teams are going to make the playoffs? Like, okay, like we're thinking Baltimore and New York. So one of those teams is going to get a wild card spot. Out of the Central, like maybe let's just say no teams in the Central get a wild card spot. So now you have 2 more wild card spots, and you're talking about Seattle and Texas. One of those teams I think is going to get one. So there's 1 spot up for grabs. I don't know if I can confidently say any of those teams is going to get it. Like, what's to say the Royals or the Twins or Cleveland doesn't grab the last spot?
I mean, dude, I mean, there's.
To be honestly, it's May 3rd.
Right, it is May 3rd. I think it's to show a point. Like, Royals took down the Jays, and they've been playing a great brand of ball. Like, they're Tigers. Riley Green has fully clicked, and they're going that, man, It's building up. Injuries and everything does filter this down just a little bit as the season goes on, and we don't know who that's going to be. I'm tweeting it out right now, so it'll already be seen by the time this gets posted. The Red Sox, if you did a blind resume of their team rankings, 7th in OPS. They basically, every offensive stat is top 10. Starting pitching is 1 or 2. First in ERA, second in WHIP, whatever you like. The bullpen, 8th in ERA, 11th in WHIP. So on paper right now, the Boston Red Sox have been the most decimated by injury, and yet they have a top 10, top 5 pitching staff and a top 10 offense, statistically.
Guys have stepped up. You called Tyler O'Neill. You said that was a great signing for them. He's one-dotting it so far. Connor Wong has come on and is one of the better offensive catchers in the game. That's just awesome to see. Like, you're so stoked for a guy like that who gets included in a massive trade, kind of forgotten about. Here he is, starting, doing everything he needs to do. And then some guys, like, they really are banking on. They give Cedon Rafaela a long-term contract. He's been going from center field to short, but he hasn't really shown up offensively this year. And I mentioned, like, Duran and Abreu coming on. Abreu is having a hell of a season, man. Playing a really nice right field. 904 OPS for him right now. Robert Refsnyder, like lefty masher. He's one-dotting it. Like, I love when you get these injuries. I don't love when you get injuries. That's a stupid statement for me to say. I apologize. What I mean is, if you have to deal with injuries, I love when guys step up in the roles. Like, opportunity presents itself, you got to take it. That's the one thing that gets hammered into your head as a baseball player is you only get so many of these opportunities. And when you get them, you better take advantage of them because they'll pass you up. Somebody else will come and get one and take it and run with it. Like, when you get them, you have to go. And, like, for some of these guys, like, this is the chance, and they're doing it.
Yeah. It's I think a lot of fans, whether you're young or you just don't care and you like baseball, when you start to get into that business side of baseball and guys' careers, it's pretty crazy that, we get sucked into the stars a lot in the $300 million contracts and things like that. That's 1% of the 1%. While meanwhile, there's guys that are, I don't know, just hope to get another look.
Hey, is Justin Slayton in your book?
Yeah.
Because he wasn't in my book.
He's shoving for the Sox.
17 in the third innings pitch, Jake.
Yeah.
He's given up how many hits? 8 hits?
No need.
One run? This is stuff I'm talking about, man.
It's a lot of stuff. Oh, lost you for a sec. I'm
back.
Trev, again, St. Louis, Detroit, Kansas City, Toronto. We're talking some Pittsburgh, Oakland later.
We're talking Pittsburgh, Oakland. We're going to talk about, the series Cardinals, Detroit in a little bit. Phillies, Angels. You want to give that a go? Give our guy Kotuck a little bit of love? I can do that.
Go.
Let me get my
Your
shit
notes.
together real quick. First game, we'll talk about the Angels. It's the only game they won. Kotuck ties it up with a base up the middle. Very happy for him. He's had some big decisions in his life and big things coming up. He was raking down in AAA. He hit me up when I posted a picture of myself in Anaheim. He said, man, I should be there. I wish I was there. One day later, I'm in Chicago leaving. He gets called up. He hit me up late night, and it's awesome. So he's doing really well. He's DHing for them. They score 2 to take the lead on a passed ball. Mike Trout scores from second base on a missed pitch from the catcher. And I think, is that when he hurt his knee? Because he went home that night and I guess couldn't sleep. It was bothering him. They ended up getting some imaging done, and now he's on the IL, has to have surgery, or meniscus. Obviously, that's a big part of this series. He went red hot to start the year, and then it really cooled off as of late. You wonder if the knee had been bothering him a little bit during that stretch. That's a tough one for them. And then the Phillies come back and they do their thing. They do what they have to do. The second game, what was the second game? Was that the Nick Castellanos tied it up game? Yes, it was. Yes. Castellanos, big homer there to tie the game. And then how about Johan Rojas out of nowhere hitting a bomb to put him up by 2? And then Wheeler does his thing in the last game of the series. They win 2 out of 3. The Angels are playing really, like I said, they had a chance here to win 2 out of 3. I don't really know what that says. They definitely shook up the roster, so that was kind of maybe something that got them jump started there. They win the first game, almost win the second one, but when I saw them, it was bad. Joe Adell in the outfield is their defense looks horrible, and a Ron Washington led team's defense should not look that bad.
Happy birthday, Ron. I think he had his 72nd. And hopefully we're talking about a little bit of a different Angels defense.
The Phillies are figuring out what they're going to do with the rotation. I know they got 6 guys.
Yeah.
And they don't know what to do. So
good problem.
Thompson said they're probably going to piggyback Turnbull and Sanchez and see if that works. It's the only thing you really can do because Turnbull deserves to stay in the rotation. You paid Walker to be there. So he's going to be in the rotation. We'll see how long this lasts, though.
Yeah, it's some good Phillies fodder. Because I think pitching-wise so far, Taiwan would be the guy out. But like you mentioned, he's got the contract. So, again, a lot of problems like this sort themselves out pretty quickly. But a good problem to have. You just don't want it to be a problem to have. Trev, I think we got to get it moving, Pop.
Yeah, shout out Reagans and Lugo. Like, continue to do your thing.
Might be changing my standouts because of it, because those guys need some love. I see you, James MacArthur. Like, are you kidding me? The other thing that I see a lot of is the farmer's dog. Because I have a dog. And the farmer's dog shows up, man. Shows up, big box at the doorstep. The best moment of Noodle's day. He has a lot of good moments. But the farmer's dog is developed with vets, made fresh from real meat and veggies, portioned for your dog, delivered right to your door. Farmer's Dog isn't fresh, higher quality food. They also send food pre-proportioned specifically for your dog. There's big dogs, there's little dogs, puppies, super seniors. It's not kibble, it's not the canned goo. It's real, healthy food. There's all sorts of benefits, healthy coat and skin, better breath. I might need this. Easier digestion, smaller, better poops. How about that? Doesn't matter if your dog is young or old, it's always the right time to invest in their health. And you can get 50% off your first box at thefarmersdog.com/talkin. Plus free shipping. That's thefarmersdog.com/talkin. 50% off. There's a link in the description. And that brings us to Trevor Plouffe's standout performances.
This one was an easy one for me. Obviously, a lot of guys went off. Shout out Nick Lodolo. Nick at Night is probably my new favorite nickname because that was like something like I would sneak and watch in my room. Yeah, way back when, baby. Nickelodeon. It was an easy one for me because I love guys facing their former team and like doing something about it. Jack Flaherty, 6 2/3, 14 Ks. He struck out 7 in a row to start the game. Think about that. Former team, you know how Jay Flair's attitude is. It's definitely a big like FU day for him. Like he was watching The Dark Knight all the way up until he had to go warm up before the game.
Kobe
like just
highlights.
Really getting in that. Yeah, Kobe and what's his name? The Joker in Dark Knight. Like that's
Heath
his
Ledger.
Those are his two egos.
Yeah.
14 Ks. His mom was in the stands going nuts. Like just. They end up losing the game because Kyle Gibson is the man and also pitched really well that game. But 14 Ks and 6 2/3, 7 to start the game. That deserves a stand-up performance.
Yeah, we got called out a little bit. What was it, last year? The past couple years, because they're like, I don't know if you guys are treating Jack Flaherty fairly because he's your friend and a friend of the show now.
We can treat him however we want.
Yes, but hey, that baseball savant's looking pretty good, and whether you're looking at the Tigers this year or maybe your team's offseason next year, there was a time Jack Flaherty was like the future, young best pitchers in baseball. Him, Buehler, Fried, Giolito, and good for him right now. 6 starts, 103 whip, punching some tickets.
You mentioned the Savant page, 97th percentile in whiff percentage and also 95th percentile in walk percentage. I mean, you usually don't get those two coinciding.
It's what you want.
That's baller stuff.
Trev, I'm I'm gonna do a little bit of a piggyback here because I was gonna talk about Shota Imanaga because he deserves to be talked about. Because we were all JM, we were debating, wait, should Shota be on this? Because he's been incredible. He was like 2 starts short of everyone else. But now we are at 34.2 innings pitched, a 0.78 ERA. He is 5-0. That still matters when it's someone on your team. Leading baseball in FIP, walks per 9 innings, so he's coming at you. Imanaga has been electric from, can this guy pitch in the bigs at all, to give the kind of month he's given. His nickname on Baseball Reference, the throwing philosopher. Not sure what that's about. Cubs fans, let me know. He's been incredible, and I think we've got the story out there, and I think people who are watching baseball know. And we've done our best on this one, but it originally, Seth Lugo. Seth Lugo, who is 5-1, he is leading the American League in innings pitched with 45, a transitioned reliever, which is a theory I'm working on for keeping pitchers actually healthier. So it's a pitcher day for me. Seth Lugo, 7 innings, 1 earned, 8 Ks, a 1.6 ERA with the most innings pitched, a massive part of why the Royals are in the mix this year.
Did you change yours up a little bit?
I did a double.
Go the last guy?
I
you
did
don't
a
want to go
double.
last guy?
Who's the last guy?
Because you said you were going to go.
Oh, that's my award.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So stay
okay.
tuned. Stay tuned. It's a pitch.
I like that. I'm glad you mentioned Lugo. We didn't give much shine to the Royals, who could have swept if they didn't lose that first game. They had a chance there with bases loaded, and Massey ended up striking out. But they deserve some love, man. And Lugo's obviously a massive part of that. So I'm happy you did that, Poppy.
It's kind of a pitcher's week too, dude. I mean, we mentioned the dueling no-nos for a little bit. My guy Luis Heel dropped it on him when the Orioles weren't running around the bases. A lot of hitters did good stuff too, and I think you're about to hear a lot about some of the big dogs in our best segment of the show.
Dirt nasties on Fuego. That means I'm on fire, baby. Like Waco.
You know I'm repping my set.
Oh.
Pop it.
Oh.
In Fuego for the series. How about our guy, Willie Adames? Where is he going to play next year? Where is he going to play next year? He went 3 for 10, but guess what? All 3 of those hits, homers, 8 ribbies, 3 runs, 2 walks for the 1.5. Becomes the first shortstop in Brewers history to drive in 4+ runs in consecutive games. That's kind of crazy. Oakland third baseman, outfielder Tyler Nevin. Probably going to talk about him in a little bit. Spoiler alert. He went 6 for 10, 2 homers, 4 RBIs, and a hit by pitch. He's hit 4 homers on the season in 25 games with Oakland in 2024. He had 4 homers in 2022 and 2023 combined with Baltimore and Detroit. So he's on a little bit of a hot streak, if you will. And then Luis Renifo. I love watching this guy play. He's kind of a little spark plug. 6 for 10, double, homer, 3 ribbies. He had that big home run. 2 stolen bases for the 1.3 or 1.6 OPS in the series. For 1 week, obviously Will Smith is going to be on here. Catcher for the Dodgers, 8 for 22, 3 doubles, 3 homers, 6 runs driven in. You just talked about Seth Lugo. He leads the big leagues in starting pitchers. You already mentioned that. 6 of the 7 starts have been quality starts. Did you mention that already too? I didn't mention
that one. You had that.
Okay. Isla's here. She's doing lots of things, distracting me. So snaps for Seth Lugo. New York Mets relief pitcher Sean Reed Foley. Of course he's on here because he threw 4 innings with no hits, no earnings, 1 walk, and 8 Ks. I mean, that's called domination, people. And then the list that you really want to be on. It's for the 2 weeks. Riley Green, outfielder for the Detroit Tigers. He went 14 for 46. That's a 304 average, Jake. 3 doubles, a triple, 4 homers, 13 runs, 8 walks. Green has the most runs in the American League over the last 2 weeks. That's what you got to do. You hit the top of the lineup, score some runs, bro. How about Luis Castillo? He was getting mad. All the other Mariners pitchers were getting shine. Oh, this guy and Bryce Miller this, Logan Gilbert this, George Kirby's walk percentage is so good. Luis Castillo's like, what about me, bro? 3 games started, 3-0, 20 innings pitched, only 9 hits, 2 earned runs, 22 Ks to 4 walks. That's what you like to see. And then to end it, of course, we're going to end it with a San Francisco Giant reliever because that's what we do on the show. Ryan Walker, 6 games in these 2 weeks, 2 holds, 6 innings pitched, only 2 hits, and 10 Ks to 1 walk. Go Giants, go. And my friends, that is who was in Fuego.
Trev, fantastic.
Come here. This is what I'm dealing with. Come here.
What's going on over there?
She's trying to plug into the show.
Oh, boy.
She kind of looks like me and you combined.
Kind of looks like Cole Tucker.
Kind of like Cole Tucker.
That Pirates hat on, the hair flowing. How you doing, Isla?
Get out of here now.
All
Get
right.
out of here.
We'll catch up later.
See you later.
Me and Isla known for our back and forth when we chat. Basically me hoping.
He does like you. I will say this. This is funny.
Sure.
And this is the true story.
Okay.
She wears John Boy Media t-shirts, which originally we bought for Teddy, like some baseball shirts, and like they kind of like didn't fit him right. They fit her perfectly. Now, she wears them every day to school. Big supporter of John Boy Media. So go shop.johnboymedia.com.
Ad.
If that didn't sell you.
Yeah.
And she tucks them in too. That's her thing. She tucks the shirt,
Swag.
obviously.
Signature look.
What? She's not a slob. What do you think this is?
We're getting ready.
Slay the day.
Unfortunately, we have to slay this segment because it's informative. It's helpful. The IL report. Placed on the IL. We're starting with 2 relievers that have been very daunting at different points of their career. Brazier and Davinsky. My God. Nolan Jones for the Rockies. Hate that after last year's breakout. Mike Trout, man, the guy. A lot of fodder on what's going on with Trouty and what's next. He's been banged up a lot. Grayrod for those Orioles. I mentioned that. He had a really good start, but he goes on the IL right after that. And then a couple kind of DHs, Sano and Yoshida for the Sox. The good news is, I mentioned the Orioles. John Means and Kyle Bradish back. There's some innings and some outs for you, along with that lineup that does not quit. Duran, you mentioned at the back of that Twins bullpen. Correa in the middle of that Twins lineup and defense. Yu Darvish is back. A couple other bodies. Some big names there, so I'm feeling okay about that. But I do think it's about time we start our weekend.
Awards!
The one and only Kelsey Winger getting us ready. And the one and only DraftKings. Trev, I don't know if you saw, but little Poppy hit a real nice one while at the game.
Oh, you did? I did see that.
Pretty
That was
crazy.
Waldo Cabrera homer?
Pretty
That
crazy.
Was big for you.
Pretty crazy.
Was that the last thing that you needed to do was the Cabrera homer?
After that, I needed one more heel strikeout, but that was the big one. That was the big one. And at DraftKings...
Did you give me a fist pump? Like, what'd you do?
America's top-rated sportsbook app. You can turn $5 into $200 instantly in bonus bets with any baseball bet. They've got same-game parlays. We're also doing a weekly fill out like a lineup daily fantasy league, which has been a ton of fun. So download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now. Use code TALKIN. New customers bet $5 and get $200 in bonus bets instantly. That's code TALKIN only on the DraftKings Sportsbook. The crown is yours. When Oswaldo homered, I kind of, because that was the craziest leg. It was, the 2 crazy legs was no runs in the first inning, which coin flip basically. And then Oswaldo was like plus 1,000 to homer off of Corbin Burns. So it wasn't even like in my head until Oswaldo did that. And then when Oswaldo did that, I just needed a heel strikeout. So that was pretty crazy. 10 to win 650. Somewhat. I don't know.
Dinner on you next time in New York.
Might as well. Come out. Come out. What's your award, Trev?
My award is called the Don't Hate the Playa award. Okay. I don't really even know how to start this award. There are times in baseball where certain things are out of the player's hands.
Okay.
relocation is one of those things.
Sure.
You know, players don't really handle that side of it. Payroll reduction. Players don't really decide that. Obviously, they're not really up for that one. They'd rather the team go spend money. Speaking of the team doing something, going out at the deadline and making moves, like players can't do anything about that. All players can do is handle business on the field, prepare the best they can, go out and try to win baseball games on a nightly basis, and then try to entertain the fans. That's you control your attitude and your hustle. That's all you can do. Put the work in, try to win some baseball games along the way. I think the Oakland A's, because of the ownership, because of the relocation, because of the lack of moves and, everyone just expecting them to lay down, we put the A's to bed before the season. We said this is going to be crazy. I believe, Jake, all three of us said the A's were going to lose or win under 56 games. Beavers, can you please check exactly what it is? But it was low, Jake. It was in the 50s, I'm sure of it. And we all said there's just no way the A's front office is going to torpedo this team. They're going to want the best chance of the first pick. They're not going to do anything. Under.
The line was 56.5. We swept the under.
We're not going to hit this under, Jake.
No.
Barring something crazy happening, because right now the Oakland A's are sitting at 15 and 17. And you're asking, how are they doing it? Well, this is like a formula for any team, really. I believe they're kind of just getting started too, because the people that are going for them aren't necessarily people that you were going to count on to begin the season. Tyler Nevin being one of them, JJ Bleday being another one of them. Like, these guys offensively have been really going. Abraham Toro's been good for them. Like a backup catcher, Kyle McCann has been good for them. Like, they've been getting these performances out of guys that really weren't supposed to do it. But that's what happens when a team gets hot. It's those guys, those role players / kind of back end of your lineup guys start to get it done. And you add that to the guys that you're supposed to quote unquote count on. And that's how good seasons are made. The A's, for what they've done, 15 and 17, they still haven't had guys like Geloff go. I mean, our guy Lawrence Butler hasn't gone. Langeliers hasn't gone. Like, guys that you would say, okay, they're the reason they're winning. They haven't really taken off yet. But these other guys in the lineup, they've sustained that offense and they've started to win. You can talk about their pitching. Like, they have guys with like real deal stuff, like JP Sears, like he's got stuff. And then they have some like veteran type pitchers in Stripling and Blackburn, who started off the year really hot. He's kind of come down to earth a little bit. So they're doing it. And then that bullpen. You talk about Mason Miller and Ursich. Right now, statistically, probably the best two 8-9 guys in the game. Like, Mason Miller's, let me read off his stats to you real quick, because I don't think we've really talked about him enough. I think the baseball world is talking a lot about him. He's basically just blowing fastballs by you. 14 and a third innings pitched. He struck out 29 people, bro. That's Paul Skeens AAA level type shit, and he's doing it at the back end of games in the big leagues. Like, this guy is a freak. I believe they tried him as a starter early on. We saw his stuff, and he got hurt, and they just shut him down. Now he's back doing his thing, and Ursich is backing him up. 12 and 2/3 innings pitched for him, a 1.42. He's only given up 7 hits in those innings. He's been phenomenal as well. I don't even know if I've never seen this before, Jake, for Mason Miller. He has a negative FIP. He has a negative 0.07 FIP. I don't know what that means. That means you're so good you don't even need defense?
So if the fielders were off the field, he'd be better?
I don't know. No,
I don't know.
Isn't it just things you can control, like walks and strikeouts? And
I know FIP can get that low when you're on a crazy streak like that, but I don't know what
I've never seen that before. So
what the implications of that negative number would truly mean.
Throw it in the comments if you're a statty guy. Maybe Eno Saris or Foolish Bailey. He comprehends fear a lot. Maybe he can let us know what's going on. But look, you can be mad at the A's and the ownership and all you want. because they deserve it. Hijacking the team at Oakland, maybe putting him in Vegas, pit stop in Sacramento. You're going to lose a lot of fans. There's a lot of negative connotation when you're talking about the A's right now, but don't hate the player. Some of these guys are really fun to watch, and they're showing it on the field. And isn't this we're so stupid because this is exactly when the A's go is when shit like this happens time and time again, and we got fooled by it this year. But I don't know if they're fooling anybody anymore. They're not surprising anyone anymore. 15-17, you're above the Astros, you're above the Angels, like you're kind of right in the thick of things in your division. I'm not saying they're going to be there all year, but certainly give them a little bit more credit than you have because you can't hate the player.
Hate their game.
Hate their ownership.
Hate their ownership's game, to be very fair to them. Yeah, be happy for the guys, because we talked about, Bud Black saying the clubhouse is good, and it's, man, I can't even imagine. Like, the team is literally trying to move. The fans are rowdy. I think the other cool part behind it, like, Ryan Noda just got sent down. I think if you were saying, if you were saying that Oakland was getting off to a 500 start through May, like, oh, is Noda going off? Like, he got sent down. Geloff's on the IL, and he was having a tough stretch. Ruiz got sent down at one point. It really starts with the bullpen that has been arguably the best in baseball, and it might be an interesting study at the end of the year of how much can a good bullpen really do for you, because, I mean, they're locking down their wins, and I like that, you mentioned the kid Mason Miller, and a couple other young guys, Mueller and Spence, have been big for them. But there's also, these veteran relievers that have been hunting jobs, and the job market can be tough on them because everyone's trying to squeeze out dollars out of what they got. Like TJ McFarland rolling that sinker ball up there. Austin Adams snapping sliders. They have a bullpen, and kind of what you were saying is, the pitching and the hitting ain't been great. The fact that they're still here, if some of these young guys do blossom a little more, these aren't last year's A's. Like, they are pesky, and if they have a lead, you're in trouble. Mute.
Sorry, I was talking to Isla. We saw this a little bit from the A's last year, but it was from the guys like Geloff and Butler and Noda. Like, those were the ones that were doing it. This year, they haven't gone yet. Other guys have stepped up. But when you can shorten a game to 7 innings like the A's can, like, you're going to win some baseball games. They've been doing that. Really tough road trip for them. They survived it. They did well. Like, I'm stoked for them. I'm stoked for the players. They have nothing to do with any of this.
No, they just got drafted by a team or traded to a team and want to play Major League Baseball. And they're doing that. They've played the Marlins this week. Watch out, weekend. Trev, I'm going a slightly different way with it. I'm giving out the Monday Night Football Award. Monday Night Football, Monday. The weekend goes through, you watch football or you didn't. Monday comes, maybe you're slunking around at work. Depending the matchup, Monday Night Football gets a lot of eyeballs across America. And one thing, I think I need to give my guy Rosillo an assist here, but he talks about if someone has a big game on Monday Night Football, that can cover like 4 other games. Like, if you're a quarterback and you have your 4 or 5 touchdown night on Monday Night Football, if your last 2 games have been awful, nobody cares. It's like, is this guy a star? Should he get the max? It stands out more. Baseball is kind of looking for its Monday Night Football a little bit. Like, Sunday Night Baseball kind of hasn't been a true Sunday Night Baseball in a little bit. We're trying to get that back. More of these highlight games for baseball. We had a little bit of that at the start of the season, and Yoshinobu Yamamoto, the $300 million man that was coming, hasn't thrown a pitch in big league baseball. How's this guy getting this kind of contract? We asked our own questions. Maybe that was a Talkin' Jake impression. Yamamoto got touched. Oh, man, can you believe it? Padres got him 1 inning, 5 earned runs.
It's done.
The ball's too big, man. Ever since then, in 33 innings, Yoshinobu Yamamoto has a 1.64 ERA, 40 strikeouts in those innings. He's now on a 15-inning scoreless streak that also took part with the Diamondbacks over this week. His season ERA is 2.91. He's having a fantastic year, even without butter knifing that first start of the season. So it's funny. I think a lot of people got that impression of Yamamoto. Wait, how does first start go? Oh, man, it's different over here. Since then, it hasn't been at all that he is rolling. And the Dodgers on a whole, a lot of their numbers conveniently since 420. The whole team has been hitting and pitching better, or I guess you could say they've been lighting it up. But I want to give Yamamoto some love because he's been shoving, and I hope people don't have that Monday Night Football effect where if that was the last time you saw him, maybe go check him out again.
Shohei Ohtani just passing the bong around? Is that what you're saying?
I didn't say it, but it's team building.
I didn't say that.
It's team
Allegedly.
building.
No, I'm just kidding. Please, this guy is... They all looked really nice. They had a gala last night, so you got to see them all dressed up. You see the wives, what they're working with. I wish I could get invited to that gala. It looks like a lot of fun. But yeah, I mean, Yamamoto, like 100%, exactly what you're saying. First taste, first impression. Everyone blew this guy up. But you're flying to Korea. Like, everything is so weird. I almost think all these statistics need to be thrown away from some of these games. Like the Mexico City games are insane. Whatever. You can't judge by any of these outside of the U.S. type games. Outside of North America, I guess I'll say. Although, is Mexico in North America? I think it is. Is Mexico in North America?
Yeah.
Yes.
Definitely.
And Toronto's. What am I saying? Anyways, throw that first start out the window. The guy is absolutely filthy. And it's like, what were people expecting? Like, seriously, if you really think about it, all these teams, the smartest teams in the world, all these analytics, they have so much data tracking this guy, and everyone is like jumping over themselves, tripping over themselves to give this guy $300 million. Like, did you think he was just going to be a bust? You know what I mean?
I know there were people rooting for that.
Maybe you're rooting for it, but like, really, if you think about this logically, do you think he's gonna be a bust? Like, maybe he's not a front of the line starter. This guy's gonna be a very good MLB pitcher, and he's gonna have times where he shines. He's the brightest star in the game. He might struggle every once in a while a little bit because that's what Garrett Cole, universally probably the best starting pitcher in baseball still. Doesn't he get touched up from time to time?
Sure.
It's baseball, Susan. It's baseball, Susan.
Ohtani wasn't going to be able to hit over here. I think
High
he's,
school
Oh, that's
level.
what. Who said that?
I think he's quelched
Dog?
that. I think he's quelched that pretty good.
No, it wasn't Mad Dog. It's the other guy he used to work with. What's that guy's name? I totally forgot his name. Huh?
Francesa.
Yeah.
Nice.
Smart. That's a good one. Andy Pajes, you need to get your freaking baseball reference picture changed, please.
Talk to the people. Talk to us. There was so much good baseball in moments this weekend. It was a jam-packed show. Tell us what we missed. Tell us why we're fools. Either way, we'll tell you we love you. And enjoy your weekend. Go watch some ball.
Jake sucks. Ready? 1, 2, to go.
Break shut.
What?
She is smiling so big right now. Look at his face. He's mad at you. Show him your teeth. Come on. Lost her first tooth.
Oh, yeah.
What?
$15 from the tooth fairy. What's going on?
Whoa. Damn. Tooth fairy inflation.